You are now listening to Shotgun Sports, powered by Winchester. Recorded in the U.S. and streaming all over the world. We talk to shotgun shooters from all disciplines, world-class instructors, gun clubs, target setters, vendors, and industry-leading companies that fuel the sport. Make sure you subscribe to our podcast, leave us a review, and connect with us on social media. You can also catch our episodes on shotgunsportsusa.com.
If you are looking to purchase Promatic traps, give Rick Hemingway a call. Rick is the largest Promatic dealer in the country and can handle all of your trap needs. His team can provide new and pre-owned units and service that is second to none. And they also have a huge rental fleet, so no job is too big or small. Not only does Rick set and design sporting clays courses, but he also offers turnkey services for skeet, trap, and 5-stand. Contact Rick today at backwoodsquailclub.com or call 843-546-1466. Welcome to Shotgun Sports. On this episode, I have the general manager of Rocky Creek Sporting Clays joining me. He's a very well-rounded, high-level shooter and instructor that is committed to all aspects of shooting sports. Please welcome Mike Luongo. What's up, Mike?
Not much, Justin. How you doing?
I'm good. Just I'm ready for the shooting season to come back in so we can get to having some fun again.
There you go. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It should be a good year.
Just had one of your students on the podcast with us a couple weeks ago. I guess you heard that.
Yeah, Rihanna.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I thought that was awesome. A lot of people love that podcast, Rihanna and Madison, two, great lady shooters, and I thought they did a great job, back and forth. It was cool. I thought it was very entertaining.
Yeah. What you been up to lately? I know you're busy at Rocky Creek.
Oh, yeah, we're busy. I mean, the weather's, in the mid-50s, but, everybody's kind of getting ready for those Florida shoots and, trying to find ammo. We're pretty good on ammo. We've got a good supply, actually. But I'll tell you what, it's, I spend 2+ hours a day, making sure we have ammo. My quote is, like a golf course without golf balls, You got to have it.
So what do you having to call your suppliers and just hoping they're having it when you need it, or how's that working for you?
Yeah, I mean, it's, I'm going to give a couple people a shout out that have been really, really awesome through all this. Joe Gardner from Crow Shooting Supply.
Mm-hmm.
He's been amazing. I mean, real good friend of mine. We talk every week. Yeah, it's not about shells. We try not to talk about shells right now. And then, Dwight Lumpkins, and Doug from Game Bore, they've been awesome. They've kept us in shells. And, I just hope everybody remembers people like that, and when times get good again, remember who kind of helped you out, super good. Those two just first come to mind, and many others. Hyatt's Gun Shop in North Carolina, Charlotte. My buddy Evan, he also helped us out. They bought a huge supply before. They always keep a huge supply, and he's bailed me out a couple times. Good people, so it's we're all kind of coming together to keep the shooters in shells,
Yeah.
Shoot.
So can you buy as much as you want when you come there? Can you buy you limited in shooters to a flat, or what? What are you doing?
Yeah, so what I'm doing, everybody's a little different. Like I said, we've been very, very blessed and lucky to have some inventory. So I have a 3-case limit on 12 gauge per visit and a 1-case limit on 20 gauge. And, we have so many, young shooters and youth shooters that go to all these matches all over in tournaments. I don't say you have to shoot them at the club. A lot of people are shooting at the club, but, I'm not going to turn down a kid or somebody who has the NSCA tournament the next day. I'm going to sell them shells too. I want to keep people in shells as much as I can. And that 3K limit's kind of keeping everybody in fair to everybody. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. That's a big deal right now. I was talking to Fred Finizzi, and he's saying the same thing, but hopefully it gets better soon, so we can all get back to not worrying about that part of it.
Yeah, it'll come around. We'll just get through it and move on.
Yeah, let me tell you what's crazy, and people haven't mentioned this much, and what we do is, we're talking about where's the ammo because we all have guns. But what if you don't have a gun? And you want to go buy a gun. What do you do? The guns are gone too.
Yeah, it is. It's another thing. I mean, I probably, we're small at Rocky Creek as far as gun sales, but we carry, different guns, consignment guns. I mean, I can't even keep a consignment gun in. Guy brings in a consignment gun, it's gone. They don't really care what it is as long as it goes bang. Just wild.
What kind of guns you sell there at Rocky Creek?
Yeah, so we sell, Beretta shotguns.
Uh-huh.
Basic Berettas, your A400s, your Silver Pigeons, 694s.
I didn't know.
I work with, we've got a little array of only Beretta, and then we do a lot of consignment stuff. And then, we work with Cole Gunsmithing on some higher end, if somebody wants a DT11, we're going to help them get a DT11. If somebody wants a, K80 Krieghoff, I'm going to call Kimball and, Tim Ward, those guys. And, we try to help everybody. Like our saying is, my boss David says, we're not in the gun business, but if we can help somebody with a gun, they're going to shoot targets, and we want to help them, get the right gun that's, tailored to that person,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, good. I didn't know that. Now, where is Rocky Creek located?
Yeah, it's in Richburg, South Carolina. Probably a lot of people don't know where that's at.
Yeah.
Easiest way to think about where it's located, you look at Charlotte, North Carolina,
mm-hmm.
and Columbia, South Carolina, where you've got the University of South Carolina, or about 40 minutes in between the two. So if you're in Columbia, it takes you about 45 minutes to get to us. If you're in Charlotte, in South Charlotte, you can get there in about a half hour, 30 minutes. So it's a good location for populated place, and we draw a lot of shooters from the Charlotte area.
Yeah. And some people listening to this may not know, but you were down at Quail Creek for a long time, right?
Yes, sir. Yep. Quail Creek, I tell everybody that's always a special place that I worked. I was very blessed and happy to work there. I had a lot of friends from being down in Florida. The Finizzi family, great people.
Yeah.
Little Joe's awesome. I talk to him every week, we'll text, or we mess around about Texas A&M now since he's going there. One of my best friends, from college, he was a big-time Texas A&M guy, and he actually was in the Johnny Manziel days. So we joke about that, and have a good time.
Yeah, oh yeah.
But yeah, it was there. Great place.
Little Joe's going to be setting some targets down at the Gator Cup. He's going to be setting the 5 stand. I don't know if you knew that or not.
Is he?
Yeah.
Oh my! I pity whoever shoots that. Man, they can shoot that good, right? Joe's not scared to wing one. I'd be out there even sometimes at Quail Creek, and like let me set that one. I'd go, woo! So I'm glad I don't have to shoot that one. No, he'll do a good job. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Be interesting to see those scores. I'm gonna have to talk to him and say, everybody, remember, there's our guys that are 70 years old out there. Mess with them, but
yeah.
That'll be good. That'll be good.
Yeah. Yeah. So what? I'll kind of talk about what you got going on, and I want to touch on a lot of different topics.
Yep.
You teach, you coach shooters, and
yes, sir.
Kind of get into how you do that. How and it's not just that you coach people; you go to a coach.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, that's just you don't hear that a whole lot, or I haven't, at least, when you're going to go see a shotgun coach to teach you how to shoot or teach you some, give you some pointers, but that coach also goes to a coach. That's neat. You don't hear that a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, Justin, I think that's a great topic, right, that nobody ever talks about. Everybody, who's your coach? I'm self-taught. You hear that a lot. It's like, I learned, at a young age, playing football, baseball, whatever it was, you're going to get better by learning from somebody that knows more than you do, right?
Yep.
So I never said, I know everything. If I'm not learning every day, I call it a bad day. I try to learn something new every day, whether it's shooting, business, life, being a dad. I learn something new. I got a 20-month-old daughter, and she's a trip. She teaches me new things every day. So, so I'll start with that. My coach, kind of coming up to the games, Anthony Matarese. I was very lucky. I lived right, hour down the road from M&M.
Mm-hmm.
Especially they put in a highway, Route 1. It was really easy to get there. And, I went to these shoots. I worked at a gun club called Pintail Point as a kid on the weekends, and started shooting and started entering tournaments. And everybody's like, we shot the local clubs around the area. And there's like, you got to go to M&M. You got to go to M&M. You think you can shoot, you're going to get humbled there, So what we do, a friend of mine who passed away now, Bert Jackson, he took me to M&M. I got humbled. I'm like, whoa, I never shot targets like this,
Right.
And, I walked in the clubhouse for the first time. I'll never forget it. I'm probably, 15, 14. I can't even remember. And I see this, like, big trophy case. And, there's medals, there's trophies. And who is that? Well, I asked a friend of mine. He goes, well, that's Anthony. His family owns this club. He's one of the best shooters in the country. And I'm like, really? So I started shooting and meeting more people. And then I said, you go to a local shoot and, who's at the top? It was, in those days it was Anthony Matarese, Joe Carey, Gary Phillips, in my area. Like, you weren't going to beat those guys. And I'm like, got to know Anthony after going up to M&M quite a few times. And I said, man, how do I get to the next level? And he said, so I'm like, meet me at M&M at such and such time. I can't remember the dates. And so I show up at M&M, and he's like, you're 5 birds off your game. I was shooting quite well, but he really kind of gets the credit for taking me to the next level. Just recently, last Monday and Tuesday, and here I am. I coach full time, 30 plus hours a week. And I went to see Anthony on my 2 days off just to take my game to the next level, not as a shooter, but also as a coach. The guys like, I would call the wizard, the Wayne Gretzky of shooting. Anthony, is this right? He's like, man, everything's good. Maybe you can try this. Like, we really only looked 2 things. He goes, and I looked at Anthony and I said, how do I beat Derek Mine and Zach Keembo, right? He kind of laughed. He goes, you can beat anybody, but, you just got to put in the work, the practice. And, so, yeah, I call Anthony and say, hey, I've got a student that's having trouble with this. Here's what I've done. He might say, yeah, everything's good, but, try this. He's just very lucky to kind of be in Anthony's, kind of umbrella. He's really helped me out in the game, to progress in the game for sure. He's always been there to answer my questions or, and help me out for sure.
Yeah. You and I were talking the other day. You go to see a coach and they'll say you're behind it, you're in front of it, you're whatever. You and Anthony don't do that.
No, one of the biggest things we talk about is you have to tell somebody why they missed and what to do to correct it. Not, a very blue moon will say, hey, you did everything perfect, just shot a little bit behind it. That's like, if we were going to say 100 things, that would happen one time. Out of 100, strive on that. It's kind of really paid off. If you look at some of Anthony's students and some of my students, kind of that same academy, same school of shooting, there's a lot of shooters out there that have been, came out of that umbrella, what we call the, Carlisle umbrella. Mm-hmm. that kind of, base of shooting,
If you keep telling someone they're behind it or in front of it, well, all they got to do is put the gun in front of it, or wherever they're at. And when they do that do they know why they did it? You know what I'm saying? I mean, did they know why they were behind it? Well,
yeah.
they could have been behind it and not knowing why. And you just told them to put it in front of it, so they did it, and they don't know why.
Right. We call that, short memory success. That's going to be something to kind of what I call get through a lesson. My goal for everybody I teach, and I talk about, hey, Mike's not going to be behind you at a tournament. And I want you to understand this when we leave the station. So, a lot of times they'll shoot that station, and before the end of the lesson, I'll take them back to that station. I'm like, all right, let's see what you learned on this station. I'm not going to say a word, and boom, 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 they execute it perfectly, and then it's great. I'll get an email the next week, hey, Mike, that 45-yard crow, target that I worked on, had trouble with. I hit every one of them, and I won the shoot. That's the stuff you want to hear. That means they're understanding. My whole goal is to teach somebody where I don't even have to be there. They can execute it in a tournament, on their own. I mean, I take a lot of pride in that. Like I said, tonight I was, answering phone calls and emails until, 8:30. Ate dinner real quick with my family, played with my daughter. I was back at it, just to try to, big in the, helping somebody out. I tell somebody, if they're coming out like any coach, if you give me 100%, I'm going to give you 110%. You know what I mean? I'm going to give them every bit of knowledge I can to make them successful. Like Brianna said on the podcast, I haven't seen her probably in 8 months, maybe more than that. She stopped at Rocky Creek on the way to a shoot, but she might, text me a question. I'll say, go practice this or work on this. I'm there to help, help people out. I want to see them get better. That grows the sport,
Yeah. I think it matters too when a coach will do that with you. It matters that
absolutely
they'll spend it, take that little extra effort and help you when you need it. So I know that you said you're up there with Anthony, and isn't he having the U.S. Open next year in 2022?
No. So Rick Hemingway actually has it 2022.
That's right. That's right.
COVID. So Rick's got it.
That's right.
I'm actually going to help Rick out with that one. Rick is, I've known Rick for years, and now they moved to South Carolina, we became really, really good friends. Even better than we were. Talk every week. Always looking, what I like about Rick, he's very innovative. He's trying to come up with something new for the sport, and he's all about the shooters. I'll tell you, he's there for the shooters, make the sport better. So, U.S. Open, I'm going to go over there and set some targets for him. So that's going to be good. He's looking forward to it. He gets a new target setter in his area. I'm looking forward to it because I get to set targets on a ground I've shot a lot, but I've never set targets on. Every time I go there, I'm like, oh, I could do this, so that'll be good for, Rick and myself.
Yeah. So let me ask you a question. How with everything you got going on, with working at Rocky Creek, running the show there, coaching, I'm sure you set targets at your place. If not, you've shown somebody. I mean, how do you have time to – and you can still shoot. So how do you have time to go out there, do what you do, go to a shoot, and HOA the shoot? How do you do that?
Yeah, so, first thing, I'm very competitive. In everything, whether it's business, whether it's my buddy coming over in a video game, when I was a kid. So, I wanted to win. So, very competitive. Kind of same thing. A couple people inspired me. Anthony being one of them. Chuck Frazier, who just passed away. I've had really, really good mentors. My dad, hard on me when I was a kid, about work ethic. And, he goes, one of the famous quotes, you can sleep when you're dead. Let's get up and go. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I just go. I don't feel I work a lot of times 7 days a week. And then when I find time to practice, one of the things I've been working on is even getting more serious about my practice. Okay, if I've only got 45 minutes, I can shoot a lot of shells in 45 minutes. I just need to get the reps in, but proper reps. If I can only shoot 100 shells, but I shot them absolutely with 110%, that's a great practice for me. And other days, say it's raining, and I have a lesson that cancels and I'm caught up with all my book work and everything like that, I'll go shoot in the rain. It doesn't bother me. Whatever it takes to kind of, time is, precious, for me. So I just, every chance I get, I'll just, work on my game or, I do another thing, gun mounts. I do 100 gun mounts a day at my house, and I haven't missed a day since I was 16 years old. That's including, Christmas morning. I mean, I'll be sick. I remember when I had the flu at Quail Creek a couple years ago, and Marie actually sent me home. I mean, that's another thing. I've never really called out a day of work in my life. I've been sent home because they're like, you're crazy. But I was there with the flu doing my gun mount, could barely lift the gun, but I got them in. Took a little longer than normal, so just dedication. Dedicated person,
All right. Talk about the gun mount just for a second. How important to that?
Yes,
how
sir.
important is your gun mount practice to you? I mean, it sounds like it's, you live and die by it. So how do you do that? What's the big deal with, how do you do that?
Yeah, so my big deal, two things behind it for me personally. The first thing is endurance. I'm not a guy that's going to go out and run 3 miles. I probably can't do that anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that gives my arms endurance. My manual labor is, moving traps around, and I'll help the boys pick shells. At the end of the day, I'll walk the course instead of riding on a cart, just for exercise. But recently, on my gun mount, like I said, endurance, just mounting that gun. I said, take a 10-pound dumbbell, and hold it with both your hands, but just bring it, from maybe under your pec all the way to your cheek, and do that 100 times. It's only 10 pounds, but you start getting around like 50, 60 reps. It's going to be hard to hold that dumbbell up, So I think that helps me from not shooting as much as I would like to. I can just get those reps to kind of keep my arms going. And like I said, Anthony saw my gun mount was a little low a couple weeks ago, and I said it's not going to expose you. So we got this real hybrid, and I'm shoot, oh, man, okay, I saw that thing great. I made a perfect move. Why did I miss? A little underneath, a little over the top, whatever it was. And he's like, just hang up a half inch in that shoulder pocket. I mean, that crushed 10 in a row. I'm like, wow, right? I would have never saw that on my own. And then the other reason for gun mounts is, I want to find that perfect place. I figure if I can eliminate my mount, that's one less thing I have to worry about. I can put my total attention on, detail, focus on the target, and I don't have to worry about, did I get my gun up right? Did I get it in my shoulder pocket? Kind of muscle memory, having that same feel every time. Those are two really main things. That's why I do it. Like I said, my wife laughs at me all the time. Like, what are you doing? You're always, gotta get my gun mount in. So
yeah.
I missed them this morning.
Well, there's people out there that think that you put the gun up and pull the trigger, and I shot in front of it or behind it or over it or wherever, and they keep doing it. Well, something else. It could be something else. It could be your gun mount need to come up. I mean, it could be a lot of things, but I don't know if people ever think about it. Yes, the better shooters do. The people that are learning, that's a big deal to have the gun mounted the right way.
Oh, I mean, big deal. Quick example for, people listening, Turner Parcell, he was the captain of the sub-junior All-American team, young kid, going to be an excellent shot, already is an excellent shot. He won the total championship for sub-junior too. And, right before, he won a couple of regionals right in a row, he was rolling, goes to the nationals. I mean, he's in that top 10 percentile out of everybody. Lost the sub-junior by one bird. And he was like devastated, and I turned to trust the process. And then he kind of, we got back to work, and he had his gun a little bit too low. He just had Jim Greenwood build him a stock. Well, Jim built it for the way Turner's body is, and he was getting that thing low like his old gun, because his old gun didn't fit him real well. And I mean, we made such a tiny adjustment just to get the gun up in his shoulder pocket better. And I mean, he's shooting lights out again. So like you said, that little thing, it can make the world difference.
Oh yeah, huge difference. Shooting over things, pull your gun up in your shoulder, right?
Yeah, I mean, half inch, sometimes it's wild.
That's right. All right, so talk about what you do at Rocky Creek every day. Other than coach, we've talked about that already.
Yeah. No. So, basically, I've got a really, really great owner, boss, friend of mine, David Chestnut. He's big into, he just loves support shooting. It's not his main business. So he kind of handed the reins over to me. I order all the shells, all the targets. I set all the targets. I tell people, well, weakness of mine is obviously paperwork. Luckily, I have a great Courtney Jordan. She kind of runs the office for me. She's fantastic at that stuff. So she kind of takes care of that, and we just go over it together, but she'll have it all ready for me. We process, we do a little bit of everything. I mean, I can run the point of sales if I need to run the point of sales. We do, if we unload the target, just kind of, we work a lot of hours. I'll do a little bit of everything. Like I said, if you kind of run a sporting clay range, you need to be, I tell her, jack of all trades, master of none. You got to be able to do a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
Very lucky. I've got a young man. I got, Wes works for me, Daniel, another one, Jake Wade. Daniel's phenomenal. Daniel is he actually worked at Quail Creek with me. And Daniel works at Rocky Creek now, and he's just become awesome. Rick Hemingway loves him. Chuck loved him. He's a phenomenal trap mechanic. So those guys really make me successful. I say you're only as good as your help. And, I'm very blessed to have a fantastic team that, if I'm out giving a lesson, they can cover me, or, they can answer a question, that they don't have to just come ask me. They can just handle it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that helps out a lot. We have, meetings to get on the same page. We got a great team.
Yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong when I say this, but is South Carolina the largest youth state in the United States?
Yeah. So, it's a great question. It's the largest, what I call standalone. Not SCTP is obviously larger, but that's in every state, including South Carolina has an SCTP. Like Texas has the 4-H, but we have the largest youth shooting program with high schools, middle schools, elementary schools have teams. It is wild. Yeah, I mean, unbelievable. Private schools, it's crazy. I see these schools. I'll give you an example. So I went to Edgefield, South Carolina, 3 weeks ago at the NWTF. That's the National Wild Turkey Federation complex.
Right.
They built a big shooting complex, cool place. And I just went there because David said, hey, why don't you come to this one? It's going to be our largest attended shoot ever. And I can't tell you exactly what date they started the foundation, but they had 878 kids shoot in one day.
Wow, that's amazing.
Right. Who does that? Yeah, I want the world, like, I'm sitting there on I'm sitting on my buggy, Rick's on his, and Rick looks at me and he goes, Mike, if only 20% of the shooting industry knew about this foundation, you know how crazy this would be. It is the most organized and attention to detail foundation I've ever seen. Cool stat, they fired the first shot at 8 o'clock in the morning. I'm talking 878 kids now. They fired the first shot at 8:30. The last shot was fired at 4:30. Put it this way, it's a 3.7 ratio to one shooter. So you've got the grandmothers, the aunts, moms, dads, brothers, sisters. Everybody on that course has eye protection. Everybody has ear protection. They all know where to go. They parked, it's crazy what they parked over like 1,300 cars because their aunt comes from North Carolina. This aunt comes from Tennessee. It's unbelievable. I mean, if anybody wants to see down the road, that's something on somebody's bucket list to just watch one of those shoots. It's unbelievable.
And where is this? Where is this at? Where did you have to go?
I went to Edgefield, South Carolina,
okay.
at the NWTF.
Edgefield, okay.
Yeah, so to elaborate on that a little more, Justin, so they had, how like the NSCA has the tour championship,
right?
5 regionals, U.S. Open, and nationals. Well, the South Carolina Youth Shooting Foundation also has its own little tour championship. So, and it rotates every year. So, for example, the first shoot was at Clinton House, and these are like qualifiers. The second shoot was at NWTS. Maurice has a shoot. The next one at Rocky Creek. I have the fourth one, and then Rick Hemingway this year has the state championship. That's like their big shoot, end of the year hoorah. And we give away several. I can't even count how many guns. They give away hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of scholarships. Midway USA is a huge supporter. Everybody in the industry comes together to support this thing. We've got a director of staff that just runs this organization, Sharon Roddy. She's phenomenal. She handles all the emails, the stuff. There's so many, and the volunteers and the coaches. It's unbelievable.
Now, is this a team deal or is this individual?
Yep. So both. They have teams just kind of like the FCTP.
Yeah.
For people that are familiar with that, it's a 3-man team, and the only thing they do different than SCTP, which I think is really, really cool, I would push for this in other organizations, and they do ladies teams only. They might have 3 ladies rookies, 3 ladies JV, so they have actually all ladies teams or all male teams, and then they have a mixed team. Depending on their high school, what they have for kids, like Richard Wynn, right down the road from me, private school, they've got 43 kids. That's one school, private school, small school. They've got 43 kids on one team. That's pretty incredible.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So it's awesome.
So does Rocky Creek have a youth shooting team?
Yes, sir, we do. They're called the Rocky Creek Claybusters. What's crazy about South Carolina, unlike when I was at Quail Creek, Quail Creek, I worked specifically with the young guns. That was Quail Creek team. Like I said, arguably one of the best, youth shooting teams in the country. Powerhouse, they had, Ryan Harper, Clayton Cutshaw, Nick Blinker, Joseph Neesy, Rihanna, Ashley Blinker, Kirsten Sale. Loads, Joseph Pinchon, loads of kids that were NSCA All-Americans from that team. So we had one team. But in Florida, there was only like 4 or 5 total teams. South Carolina, there's 90-something teams. You can't.
That's crazy.
I can't specifically coach one,
That is crazy. Now, how do you start a youth team? And then how do you get one to be as good as the young guns?
Yeah, so I think it's all about the volunteers. I tell people, you can say this, that. Talent pool has nothing to do with that. It's the volunteers, what you put into it. Even in South Carolina, the top teams, I see they have what I call the top level volunteers. Parents and school teachers, and everybody's a part of this thing to kind of do fundraisers. You just basically start a team. You can start a team through a club. You could go to, for example, right by Quail Creek, you could go to Vero Beach Sporting Clays down the road, and Vero could say, okay, we want to start a team. They would just, they would have to have kids in their area, right? I don't know exactly the laws behind it, like the zip code and stuff, but you just say, we want to start a team, and then, and you start one. But then it's all about the members of the team. It's like with Little League Baseball, right? If the parents are involved and the coaches are involved, probably going to have a successful team. Fundraisers, stuff like that. What's neat about the South Carolina Youth Shooting Foundation, all that information is online. It's scysf.org, and it's got a whole web page, and it tells you how to start a team, where to sign up, what you need to do, how to become a member, and it's just simple clicking buttons online. Like I said, you don't have to have say your school says, we're not going to have a shooting team. Well, you can start a club team. You can go to your local club and say, hey, can we just use your name? Or other people just start clubs, their own club teams. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it sounds like it is. What is involved with? So, is there like a head coach And does that head coach need to be a
Absolutely.
shooter? Does he need to be a shooter, or does he need to be a parent? You know what I'm saying?
No, sir, it could be anybody. So,
okay.
Yeah, great question. So I'll just give you an example of what we do in South Carolina. So we actually have a coaching class. It's run by Donnie Ross. Donnie's been doing this a long time. He knows a lot about shooting. He used to run a gun club. He's retired now. And Donnie has what's called a coach's class. And they come for a full day. And they start from basic 101, like you must have eye and ear protection. He gives them a full-blown book. The book has kind of all the rules, basic stuff, a little bit of gun fit. Talks about eye dominance. He talks about safety, how to stand, and then, they have a classroom session in the morning. They break for lunch, and then at the, in the afternoon, you have volunteer students, and Donnie takes them all over to the 5 stand, and he makes them coach, and he critiques them. Hey, this is what happened. Here's how you work with a kid versus an adult. Very, very organized. And what we do is everybody who starts a team, the head coach has to take that class, and then he can, kind of help, an assistant coach has to take it. So, like I said, Richard Wynn, I don't know if everybody heard of like Habo, the brand Habo, the clothing brand.
Yeah.
Scott Clyburn, he's the head coach for Richard Wynn. He does his, sons used to go there. They're all out of school, but Scott stays involved with the program because he just loves to do it. So he's the head coach. He doesn't even have a kid on the team. So it works out good. We have a lot of volunteers that still help out and coach a team. It does not have to be a parent. Matter of fact, a lot of teams, their parents aren't the coaches. It's other coaches and volunteers, and it's really awesome. It's important. I saw David Radulovich the other day have a post on Facebook. He wanted to volunteer his time to help these coaches. He said, "Hey, this isn't a knack." And I tried that years ago in Florida. I said, "Hey, I will help you guys become better coaches." And it's just, treading, muddy water a little bit because you don't want to, you're not insulting anybody. And I used to tell coaches, I said, "Hey, I'm just going to help you, and this is going to help the kids." And I thought that was a cool post by David. If he wanted to do something like that, I'd definitely help him. I have people all the time, "Can you help me?" They'll come to me for lessons on coaching, not their own shooting. Like, how would you coach a kid? They'll book 2 hours with on just that. And they'll bring one of their kids or 2 or 3 or 4 of their kids, and I'll go over it with them, and it really helps their program,
Yeah. How does a parent that has a kid that wants to start shooting, what do you do? I mean, do you just take them out and start shooting with them, or do you have them, go to one of these teams? I mean, how do you make a kid feel comfortable about starting to shoot when they're not really, when they haven't shot? I mean, do they need to go shoot with their mom and dad and then go to the gun club, or do they need to get a coach? What do they need to do to make them?
I'm telling you, that's another great question. So I get that one a lot. I tell people, I said, and this isn't trying to promote anything when I go, and it could be anybody. I said, hire a coach, hire a good coach. Just let them take them out one time. They love it. Then mom and dad can just take them out, let them practice. But if they don't, I see so many kids, and I was that kid. If my dad told me, "Mike, this is how you mount a gun," I would say he was wrong. Right? Dad's never right at that age. So,
yeah.
An innocent, bystander with a coach, they're going to listen just like a school teacher. And I feel like that's been my connection with coaching kids. You get a guy over there that was like a colonel in the military. He's going to be a tough guy to deal with. You got Mike over here. He's just a grown kid. You know what I mean? They feel comfortable around me, and I talk to them, and I just connect with them really well because they feel comfortable around me. I'm not putting any pressure on them, just getting them started.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would recommend a hire a coach. There's so many good coaches that can get people started. When I told people, I said, you have a lot of people that maybe started with a coach who just taught them, gun mount, stance, all that, and they were getting really competitive. And I have coaches call me all the time, "Hey, Mike, I've got, a student over here. I'll take them as far as I can take them. They want to go to the next level. I'm going to send them to you." So you can do that. There's so many things you can do to make your kid feel comfortable. And what I like, we have so Quail Creek had this, and South Carolina Youth Shooting Foundation has this. There's a code of ethics, that, you're going to treat your teammates right. You're not going to use foul language. And they are strict by it. South Carolina Youth Shooting, everybody treats everybody awesome. And what I see is these kids going on, and they're becoming great people in society, in their careers. Engineers, lawyers, or some kids in law school. Shooting really, personally, shooting changed my life. My mom said the best thing I ever did was go shoot with my Uncle Les, because it changed me. It made me more responsible. Taught me how to save money. Because my mom's like, "Hey, you want to just save money for shells?" Just taught me a lot of things I might have not ever learned if I didn't have sporting clays in my life.
Yeah. What is one mistake that parents make when they start their kid off shooting?
Biggest mistake, just right off the head, is I think it's a combination of two things. First thing, put them in the wrong gun. Dad's got an old 870 pump gun, which is a classic, legendary gun, but the thing's going to knock your teeth out. It's going to knock the filling loose.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, you got to try it," and that comes coincide with the next thing, pressure. They're putting too much pressure on their kid. I had a gentleman out the other day, pulled me to the side. He said, "Hey, my son's 10, my daughter's 12. When do you think I should let him shoot?" I said, "Great question." I said, "Tell them, when they mention it to you, 'Hey, Dad, I want to go shooting.' Don't say, 'We're going to go shooting today.' They'll want it, or bring them out with you. Let them push the buttons. Let them get excited." I watch more kids, especially, youth shooters, the brother was shooting, and they're out there reading their book with a blanket on the back of a golf cart, cold, watching, and then they can only watch for so many weeks. And they go, "Hey, Mom, I want to try that."
Yeah.
Next thing you know, you got a ladies champion. You know what I mean? They sit there for 2-3 years and they can't. "Oh, I want to try this. If my brother could do it, I can do it."
Yeah.
I've seen awesome shooters come out of that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You can only sit there and read books for so long before you want to try it.
That's right. That's right.
So what drives you every day in the sport, and what do you how are you making it better, or how do you want it to get better?
Yeah, so I flat out love shooting, right? I love guns, trap machines. We're always saying, how can we make the newest cool target? Everything that involves clay shooting, I love it. I tell people I've had very, very few bad days at work. Very, very few. And not many people can say that, I love what I do. I think what drives me every day is, just seeing the sport grow. If one thing I could do, I said, I don't, the personal goal might, I want to be a national champion, U.S. champion, world sporting champion, I've won side events at all those shoots, but that's a personal goal. But if I don't ever do that, and if I can leave a mark on the game and promote it, and, one of my goals now is like, I want to coach champions. That's what I've done with a lot of youth shooters, veteran shooters, open shooters. I've got some, other shooters right now I'm working with, just adults that are awesome. They're going to be awesome in the next couple of years. And I want to be, the guy that said, "Hey man, Mike really stepped my game up for me." Just kind of being that mentor to young kids and showing them, what they can do. There's, today's world, there's some kids that flat out don't want to go to college, right? And they love to shoot. And this industry's hurting right now for what we call talent, as far as target setters, trap mechanics, stuff like that. I want to be that guy to say, "Hey, I can help you get there. Let me, you come over here for a year, intern with me, and, we can get you a job at a great club." Two friends of mine, very well, Dave Dalton, Gene Bostic.
Yep.
Double D calls me all the time, and I answer his questions. That, "Mike, thank you so much. I would have never known that." But you take, they got Cody over there. I went over there a few days back, and I shot the course, and that guy is a great target setter. I thought his targets were awesome. He's putting a lot of effort into it. I was very impressed. So we need more guys like Cody coming up, trying hard, getting their name out there. And it's tough right now because not a lot of people, I said target setter, that's a tough world because, you can't please everybody. And it's hard getting, sitting there moving all those machines, spending all those hours, and somebody who I thought your course was terrible. I said, guys, you just got to get used to it. Same things I tell people getting into shooting. I'm like, if you can't stand losing to women and children, you're in the wrong game. They laugh at me,
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I want to leave the mark. I want to help people grow in the industry, and I want to be the guy, down the road known as like the, Chuck Frazier's, and, I've had a lot of, Chuck Frazier, Fred Finisi was a great mentor. I've been very lucky, Anthony. So like I've got some of the best mentors in the game that mold me into who I am. And now it's kind of nice when people call me for me to help them out. So I think now it's my turn to return what I got from people, return the knowledge, and help people out.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, let me ask you this, and you might not know how to answer this, but how could everyone else help the sport get better?
That's a great question. I think so. I can kind of relate to that a little bit. So it's funny. You take like, for example, I'll just use this example, Anthony and Corey Cruz. They help each other out.
Yeah.
They're on the course. If those two guys are in the squad, good luck trying to beat them, right? Because they're working together. They're shooting the same style. They're friends. I see, my buddy, if I'm shooting with, Ryan Harper and my buddy Corey Rugg, usually we're going to have somebody in that squad is going to shoot a big score because we're kind of working with each other. You know what I mean? My buddy Corey, phenomenal shot. And he says, Mike, that bird took a little more than I thought. When he comes out of the box, he just pay attention to the front. It's just a little thing. And I go in there and run the station because he made the mistake. I don't see that so much anymore. I think we gotta be better, to help each other out. It's a competitive sport, but I think to grow the game, we've got to, treat each other better. I tell these kids all the time, I know you guys are competitors, but if that guy shoots that good, make friends with him. I said, I made friends with Anthony. You know what I mean? He's better than me. Just I was joking with him, but learn from somebody that knows when they work together. I'd like to see more of that in the sport. Not, you got to do it my way and only. I mean, tailor to somebody's needs. When I'm coaching, I have so many different levels of shooters. I got a guy who's looking for two birds. I gave a guy a lesson the other day. He's arguably the last 20 years been the best shot in North Carolina. He's a good friend of mine. I don't have trouble mentioning his name, Wesley Elliott. His average over 20 years was like 92.8. Right, the guy's phenomenal.
Wow.
We went to the first, 5, 6, 7 stations. He never missed a target. I'm giving him a lesson. I said, Wesley, just keep going. Do I look all right? I said, look, I'll tell you when. Then we kind of found his weakness on a couple targets, and that 2-hour lesson, we literally worked on 2 things, and then I might have somebody who's, just starting out. They don't even know how to mount a gun. So I don't say, this is the way I've got to coach. I'll tailor to somebody's needs. It's a style. It's a method, but I'm going to tailor to somebody's needs. So I just help people. If somebody calls you with a question, I tell everybody, throw the ego in the trash can. Be the good person. Try to help each other out. Yeah. I think you're going to see that grow. Zach and Desi are probably 2 of the best people in the sport for that. You know what I mean? They're always trying to help somebody. I said, be a Bill McGuire, be a Zach, be a Desi, be a Diane Torrentino, be somebody who, you ask a question, they're going to help you. You know what I mean? You might beat them the next time you shoot, but they'll be happy that they helped you,
Yeah, if you're shooting with them, I promise you they'll help.
More of that.
They'll help you if you're shooting with them too.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So what plans you got for your place up there in the coming year?
Yeah. So, coming year. So, we're hosting the 2021 South Carolina State Championship. That's the second week of September. That's going to be a cool shoot. Last year, me and Rick Hemingway came up with the North Carolina versus South Carolina Challenge. 5 of the top guns from North Carolina, 5 of the top guns from South Carolina, and they shot off, and man, that was a crowd favorite. It was like over 40,000 views on Facebook. It was so popular.
Wow.
People loved it.
Who won that?
Yeah, they're like South Carolina. Yep. And I'll tell you what, we were at odds. That's a cool little quick story. I'll tell you. I think people will love this. North Carolina, was stacked. They had the young guy named Justin Sessoms. He's just a local kid, awesome shooter. Has a great dad. He was picked. They had Cameron Hicks, upcoming shooter. Cameron in the military. They had Braxton Oliver. I mean, Braxton was master one at the Nationals, and he was like runner-up in 4 regionals. I mean, one of the hottest guns of last year. And then they had a guy named Richard Cheek, local guy, phenomenal shot.
Yep.
And then Wesley Elliott was their captain. So, I mean, and Wesley said he's won the North Carolina State so many times you can't even count. Like Anthony said, he knew Wesley. He met Wesley when Anthony was 12 years old. That's how long he's been shooting, So, and then it was, I had Turner Parcell, 15-year-old kid. I had Will Fennell, local. Everybody knows Will.
Yep.
Chris Ferris, he won the Northeast Regional, shoots at my club a lot. And I had a local guy named Scott Jones, won several South Carolina State shoots and myself. And Turner Parcell put on the show, kept us in it. The old guys, me and Will, we weren't hitting much under the lights at first. And I'm no way older as Will. He knows that I call him old man all the time. Will's a friend of mine, by the way. I'm not. But yeah, it came down to a deadlock. We were dead tied going to the last peg, and I was the team captain for South Carolina. Wesley was the team captain for North Carolina. We shot last, and I looked over at Wesley. He looked over at me. I knew he was serious, but I edged him out at the end. So South Carolina won. It was pretty cool, but the crowd went wild. So we're gonna do something like that. We covered all the shooting stations last year. Put in a super sporting course on one of our courses. We have 3 of them, so we put a super sporting course in our oak course, which is our kind of medium level, so we can have an easy, medium, and tough target. Going forward, we're actually going to put lights on our 5 stand this year. That's our next goal, to light that up. So this summer we can do we're going to do some make or break at nighttime, get 20, 30 guys or girls, whoever wants to come shoot and have a good time. Everybody throwing $5 and, eat a little bit of dinner and just kind of expanding the club. Club's great. We've really done a lot of work to it since I've got here. David's really helped me out. Anything I've kind of said, hey, here's what we could do to improve. He's gave me the capital to improve it, and it's showing. We did well. We're doing very well.
Well, good. How do you sign up for the South Carolina State shoot? Where do you go to do that?
Yeah, so it's on. You go right on Score Chasers.
Okay.
We converted to Score Chasers, and we see a scoring play. You can go right on there, sign up. All the info's right there. Flyers on there. You can click on the option. Whole 9 yards right on Score Chasers.
Yeah. Well, good. Well, I appreciate you coming on tonight, man. I really enjoyed this conversation. It actually went by fairly quick. It's what happens when you enjoy talking about something you enjoy.
Yeah, man, I enjoyed it. Like I said, I could talk all night to you, So, all good.
So where are you going next? What big shoot you going to next?
Next week, a childhood friend of mine, Brian Palmer, took over the Vero Beach Gun Club. And, like the week before the Gator Cup, I've actually got a corporate event here. Can't go to the Gator. And my bucket list was the Caribbean Cup because I never had to go to it because we were always setting targets and get ready for the Gator Cup. So, yeah, I'm going on the Caribbean Cup. And then after that, another bucket list shoot I'm going to get to do this year is the Seminole Cup. Never have done the Seminole Cup. Schedule conflict in my job. That's the only week in March I don't have something this year, and I'm going. I said this. I've always wanted to go. A bunch of people said, got to go, Mike, and I'm really looking forward to both those shoots.
Yeah. Well, I won't be at the Caribbean Cup. I have never been there, actually. I guess you hadn't either.
Yeah, that's the crazy part. I shot practice there a couple times, but never got to shoot a match there, tournament. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. I've heard they've done a lot to the place, so I'm looking forward to going to that shoot.
Yep. All right, man. Well, I'll let you go. I know you got things to do, and I appreciate you coming on. And anybody needing a lesson, call this guy right here. I promise you he'll help you out. So I appreciate you coming on, man.
All right, Justin. I appreciate it, buddy.
All right,
y'all need anything, give me a holler.
All right, we'll do it, buddy. See you.
All right, have a good night.
All right, you too.